be launching the season, which will in fact address the issue of the food security in September. As the Premier of the province, with the MEC, will be personally launching it, and will be ensuring that in each and every district we see the fruits of what we envisage. Because when the economy is growing, job opportunities, in fact, will be a result of the economic growth. So our focus is that inclusive economic growth that will afford the people of this province job opportunities. And the other very important one, the state must be a state that is developing, that is serving with good standards, serving with integrity. The reason for having the extension officers here is to give a message that we want them to deliver. They must deliver and deliver quality. They must ensure that we achieve what is the vision of the MEC, what is the vision of our government. Because these programs that we are having, wherein we are bringing role players together, is because we want to give a message that there will be consequence management, which is the order of the day in this government, when people are not delivering according to the standards.
With regards to the issue of emerging farmers, Premier, the MEC did allude to the fact that they face a number of challenges, and of course they are at the entry phase of where the root problem is. What are you contemplating doing in terms of basically providing them with the support that they require?
The department will be engaging them. They've already started to engage them. They've intervened in certain areas. The MEC was reporting while we were seated there of the intervention that she has already made, and we're even identifying other areas that also require some intervention. You recall that during the State of the Province address, I announced the injection of 2 billion rand for the agri-hub, which is categorized into districts where in certain districts they have been identified to produce certain products, which will all contribute to the center of the market, either exports or either to be used within the country here in South Africa. And the agri-hub speaks exactly to the emerging farmers, because when you talk about the fresh produce market that will be building in Richards Bay, is talking to the farmers in Kandla, is talking to the farmers, emerging farmers in Jozini, in that area, who are able to grow some plants which can be used for actually the what we're actually talking about.
Umbuzo wokuqala Premier ngesizulu ukuthi mangabe selitholile le report njengehhovisi likaNdunankulu, iziphi inyathelo enizothatha ukuxazulula le nkinga iHSRC esishilo vele ukuthi ikhona yokwentuleka kokudla esifundazweni?
Useqalile vele ungqongqoshe wethu ukuxazulula inkinga, ungenelela kulaba balimi laba abasafufusa. Sithi sifuna ukubona KwaZulu-Natal ihlaza zonke inkalo. Isizathu sokuthi sihlangane kanjena la kube khona imeya, kube khona abasomasipala, ama-local economic development officers, bese kuba khona abasebenzi ba-agriculture nama-extension officers. Ingoba we said we want to build a capable, with integrity and developing state, serving with integrity and developmental state in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. Sifuna ukuthi laba basebenzi bahambe bayo implementa iphupho njengoba linjalo lo mnyango, ukuze sibone ngempela KwaZulu-Natal ihlazo. Uma ikahlazo KwaZulu-Natal, indaba ye-food security ngesakhala ngayo, ukudla kuzobe sekukhona. Kodwa sifuna ukukhuluma thina ngokudla kuphela okuzodliwa, sifuna ukukhuluma ngokudla okuzophuma kuyongena nakwimarket, ukuze laba abasafufusa abalimi bakwazi ukwenza inzuzo. Ngekathi kwenzeka lokho kukhula umnotho, uma kukhula umnotho kudaleka amathuba omsebenzi.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Premier, Honorable T.A. Ntuli, the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, O.A.T. Ntuli, the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, Honorable MEC Ugamadlopa Tetwa, who is the MEC Yawa Agriculture and Rural Development in KwaZulu-Natal, Inkosi Yesizwe, esibonile ngaphakathi farming KZN Farming Enterprise ubaba Mfusi sibe ne team elidwa uDr Mweng from the National Department of Agriculture esiholayo as a national department bese siba ne team from the South African Sugar Research Institute like KZN nama members at Exco Awadard and Menco members officials at department angaphakathi nezimenywa zonke zika MEC and Honorable Premier sanibonani. Honorable Premier, today as a way of welcoming yourself and the Honorable MEC and all the dignitaries to this gathering today, we are gathered with all the advisors, agricultural advisors in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. Mainly, we call this as an agricultural extension in Daba, and we are hosting it here in Durban, and I am welcoming you in the city of Durban Metro. I would want to believe that all of us, as we have arrived, we will find it easy to relate with the metro because it's still part of our province. We are no foreigners to this city as well, as it is our city, as people who belong to the city. Honorable Premier, you don't need any much welcome, words of welcome to your own province because this is your own province. And I'm just trying to follow the agenda or a program is prepared so that I don't omit that item at Kune welcoming. But you really don't need to be welcomed in your own province. Instead, all of us, I'm sure we're all eagerly awaiting your message as this team within the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, together with our Honorable MEC. Honorable Premier, maybe as a way of trying to also save time, if I were to just then deal with the purpose for today. The purpose of today, mainly this gathering, is one of the activities or the initiatives that we do on an annual basis, trying to revive a concept of professionalism within the agricultural extension discipline. And we use this opportunity, Honorable Premier, in essence, to be sharing our experiences on the ground, possible challenges and possible solutions which some colleagues are going to be presenting as they engage on the ground. We have success stories that will be shared based on the experiences which our agricultural advisors have with engaging with the farming communities. We are also going to be using this day to be presenting some research papers and posters of work that we continuously are trying to improve because we would not want to stagnate in the discipline or in the profession. There is now technology and it advances almost on a daily basis, Honorable Premier and Honorable MEC, and we will need to be catching up with such. There is also a research or a survey that was conducted with the assistance of the Human Research Council for the food and nutrition security. And basically this survey, Honorable Premier, was trying to bring information at the much lowest level in terms of analyzing and unpacking issues or the levels at which our people are still ravaged by food insecurity, especially at a household level. More than 10,000 households were surveyed through this engagement, and we now have the results, and these results are going to be at least assisting us to then be able to target specifically in different regions or in municipalities which are still quite prone to issues of underdevelopment related to food and nutrition security. But the team led by Dr. Mweng is going to be taking us through that report, and I am inviting at this point Dr. Mweng, the Chief Director responsible for food security in the National Department, to come and make the presentation. Can we welcome her with a round of applause?
Good morning, Honorable Premier Ntuli and Honorable MEC of Agriculture in KwaZulu-Natal. And thank you very much, Program Director, for the opportunity that is provided to the National Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development, that is just about to separate between agriculture as well as land reform and rural development. You are helping us in terms of spreading the word of food security in the country. We have Professor Simelani that I will also request in a few minutes to come in and do a quick explanation of the methodology in a few minutes. And then we will then talk to the findings, which we are honored to actually share them here with the audience. That is the actual soldiers that are on the ground in terms of food and nutrition security. And I would also write on the protocols observed by the program director in terms of acknowledging the mayors that are present here, as well as the traditional leaders, our Amakhosi, that are present in our midst. As the National Food and Nutrition Security and the department at National in Pretoria, we managed to conduct this survey with the help, Premier and MEC, of the funds that were coming from the province itself in the form of the HOD Ubabu Udlamini, who provided funding, and this was a first of its kind survey for a country like ours. Even in the continent, we are the lead in terms of such data, because we have been receiving funding from SADC as the region for conducting these livelihood zones in terms of baseline data, so that we can know where and who is food insecure in the country. But then, as a country of South Africa, we were then able to source funding within the country in the form of Ilimalizima, and we were then able to conduct this survey. And briefly, the survey wanted to say who is actually food insecure in which areas of the country in all 9 provinces. Normally, we have the General Household Survey, which is conducted by Statistics South Africa, and that survey is usually at the provincial level. But this survey was actually now at the sub-provincial level to say which districts are mostly affected by food insecurity. I will ask that the team of Darald just raises their hands, that were behind the work of the survey. And as I will be doing that, I will also acknowledge Amakos as well as the colleagues that are sitting here that were very instrumental in terms of making sure that data is received from farmers. And I would really ask Professor Simelani from the Human Science Research Council to come forward quickly through you, Mhlangapambili, to just do a brief on the methodology that was used, so that we can then talk to the findings that then came out to tell us to say where in KwaZulu-Natal are the problematic areas. If the Daral team can also just shine. As Professor Simelani is coming through, I would also want to wish the women, which we have met here at Adare a lot, a happy Women's Month.
Babu Mpemba, nomama uNyambose, nabo bonke ikhulu eyikhona ngokuyithoba ngithi angibingelele. Noma ke mhlawumbe sengibekwe njengomuntu oyinjulabuchopho akunjalo kahle kahle. I'm just an ordinary human being who was given a task to lead a team of scientists who have to investigate the reality and the severity of food insecurity at a household level. It was a difficult task, of course, because we were expected to determine and to develop the methodology from scratch. The method that we used was embracing 3 components: the household economic approach, the determination of the status of food insecurity at a household level, as well as also determining the nutrition component of how is it the healthiness of the people at a household level. As it has already been emphasized and indicated, that the critical component was then to develop a baseline study of the situation of food security at a household level across the country in all 9 provinces. The province of KwaZulu-Natal, big as it is, was one of the most important ones where we have to do the investigation. Myself as a principal investigator, I was leading not less than 30 scientists who have to investigate. The critical thing then to do was, or expected to do, was that the methods that we implement must be scientifically valid. To make sure that we conform with that expectation, we randomly selected in each and every district not less than 35 households that were in a particular region which we refer to as the small area layers. We have to go visit the household, engage with the 3 participants, the head of the family, the caregiver or the mother who is preparing food in the household, and if it happens that in a household we encounter a child, we then have to engage the child through the permission of the mother to participate. How does the children were participating? We have to weigh them and measure them using a method called anthropometric measurement. This was a very difficult task which we wouldn't be able to succeed all by ourselves. In each and every district that we visited, we were assisted, but at a provincial level, by 50 data collectors whom we have to recruit, train, and make sure that they have a clear understanding of what type of data that we need. In their collection of data, they were carrying the tablets. Then with these tablets, they were punching the data on real time. And when they finish engaging a household, they will press enter and data will appear at a central server in the Council for Scientific, in the Human Sciences Research Council. Over there, I was having 3 people who were monitoring data on real time. Should it happen that they pick up a mistake, and then we will stop the data collectors and do an analysis and then determine the mistake, and so that they can continue. So it was a very intensive and extensive engagement. After that, we have to clean data, process it, so that it gives what Dr. Moeng is going to present today. And I'm glad to announce that with the quality of data that we have collected, it has been deposited with the World Health Organization for further monitoring at a global level. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. I will not run through all the slides because the reports are going to be handed over to the MEC, and then she can then in return hand them over to the Honorable Premier. But quickly, just to indicate that we saw a very a good picture in terms of this work when it comes to data collection, as well as feeding back into the regional expectations of the regional vulnerability assessment and analysis work as the country. But what one observed is that there are problems in terms of Zululand and Umkhanyakude all the way, and we would really want and urge the work to actually focus there, because if you see, even in terms of unemployment, there were challenges there on those districts, as well as the challenges as far as the social grants. They are touching a lot of that. And the COVID-19, not much. But what was critical again in the findings is that whereas there's access to land, relatively speaking, for KwaZulu-Natal ranking around number 4 in the whole country of 9 provinces, the usage was actually also a challenge. But you will see here that access to land in Zululand, which we were saying, is actually having challenges of food and nutrition insecurity. They have access to land, yet they are not the lead when it comes to using that land, which is a challenge that we would need to address as the colleagues that are seated here. And again, when it comes to the issues of commodities, KwaZulu-Natal is not coming out strongly when you compare to other provinces, which is something that we would also want to take forward. As far as the grains and fruits, we see them, KwaZulu-Natal, comparing very well with Gauteng when it comes to vegetable production, which is also not a surprise because of the climatic conditions around here. And I would like to quickly skip these slides and go to some of the slides that were very intriguing when it comes to food and nutrition, to food security indicators, because we also analyzed the food security indicators alongside the nutrition indicators so that we can be able to know the challenges that face the country at a broader level. Because food that is not nutritious is also not helpful. We have to make sure that people eat well-balanced diets. And what was more also interesting in this case was to observe that KwaZulu-Natal again was not having a challenge. It led when it comes to diversity, the food consumption score of saying, where do you get food? How often do you consume food? What is the dietary diversity? Do you have the 6 colors on your plate? KwaZulu-Natal was leading, which was very interesting. And we were observing that as a collective to say, wow, that's nice. Because in fact, Limpopo is actually the province that leads when it comes to food security in terms of production. But Limpopo, people are more onto staples compared to a diversity of food. Then this was actually intriguing. And I will move quickly to the other issues of in nutrition. Again there, we were seeing KwaZulu-Natal faring well when it comes to issues of stunting. People that are dwarfed, no problem, and I'm sure we can all attest to that here, but that was mostly a problem in Northern Cape and Western Cape. And again, even in terms of wasting, where you are thinner than your actual age and your height, there is no problem. Again, here we see KwaZulu-Natal actually being green there, which is a problem because, which is a solution, and it's an achievement because it talks to then that food consumption score issue of saying, indeed, people here eat well. I think we should encourage that, MEC. It's very important. And then we then looked at the highlights now that were saying, while severe food insecurity was more prevalent in Northwest, there were challenges in Northwest and Free State in terms of dietary diversity, including Limpopo. And I think this is important for this audience because then you need to know where are you faring, how far are you in terms of the norm. And again, coming to the nutrition indicators, these are your stunting, as I said, it's your dwarfness and your wasting, your thinness in terms of your age and weight, and then the underweight as well as obesity, which the researchers used the body mass index. And in terms of the problems here then now, we were observing and invest into this because KwaZulu-Natal was leading in terms of obesity, which is a problem, again, MEC, that people must then don't overeat that nice foods that you're eating because then it contributes to our health resources in terms of the non-communicable diseases, and it becomes a challenge in depleting health resources. But I will then skip the recommendations because they are contained in the reports and quickly move on to say, as I conclude, Honorable Premier and MEC, there are announcements that we would also like to share as the National Department of Agriculture to say that as the country, we will be hosting G20 as presidents in 2025. Currently, we are the Troika, which is a group of 3 with India, Brazil, and South Africa. So when we host, we will be leading and wanting to take the baton of the G20 to the United States of America. So they will be taking over from us, which is also another honor, Honorable Premier and MEC, to say as a country in Africa, in the African continent, South Africa is the only country that is in the G20 currently. And we are also the chair as a country of the Committee on World Food Security, which is CFS for short, for 2024 and 2025. So these are some of the activities that attach us to the global arena and the global community. And therefore, we would want to garner your support in terms of all these activities. Thank you very much, Program Director. I will then hand over the reports to the MEC for her to hand over to me.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Moeng, for the presentation of the reports. Can you just give the team a round of applause? We do need to emphasize that these reports must not gather dust. They are available as information to really inform our programs moving forward and targeting areas that are really prone to food insecurity as a department or as government in general. And the same reports, I think the Honorable Premier and the MEC were giving us wise counsel that in this gathering there should be municipalities as well, because these vulnerabilities, they do not just happen in space, in the sky, but they happen at a location somewhere which is within a local municipality, as it were. Honorable Premier, we are now going to be moving in taking a report on the status of our extension and advisory services across the province and the country as well. And this report we are going to be led by Ms. F. Matebeni, who is from the National Department of Agriculture. Can we just give her a round of applause as she approaches? Can I also make an announcement? I've been requested that the team is also streaming live. Those who are intending to move on to the other side of a plenary, if they could just be mindful not to distract our cameras on the other side, because they are also live. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All protocols observed. My name is Fezeka Matebeni. As the program director already introduced me, I am presenting the 5-year status report on extension and advisory services, which is, we also included the recently approved National Policy on Comprehensive Producer Development Support, which was approved this year in March by former Minister Mamtoko Titiza. This is the outline of my presentation, where I will highlight or just give the introduction of the extension and advisory service in the country, as well as the key achievement, extension recovery plan, its budget and expenditure, as well as extension to producer ratio by province, as well as highlight on the policies that are highlighted that has been approved, and conclusion with recommendations. Ladies and gentlemen, let me first provide the structure of extension and advisory services in the country, where we have Darald, where Dr. Moeng is coming from, and other team from the national who are based in Pretoria, who are working with the provincial departments of agriculture in all provinces. And our main mandate is to provide policy direction, which is, we are coming from a branch called Food Security and Agrarian Reform, and where we under extension and other services is from the Chief Directorate called National Extension Support Services and Land Development Support. So these are the key policy frameworks that, as extension advisory services, were being led, which is, we have norms and standard for extension advisory service of 2005, but currently are being reviewed to cooperate, because they were approved in 2005. And we have extension recovery plan, which was introduced in 2008 and 2009 with the aim of revitalize extension in South Africa. And we have a national framework for extension as a profession and field practice, which was approved in 2014. And colleagues, we have what we always call our Bible extension practitioner, which is the National Policy for Extension and Advisory Services, which was also approved in 2016. And also the one that I've just highlighted that will guide us on the supporting different producers in the country. So as I highlighted, that we have the National Policy on Extension and Advisory Services. It aims to provide or to set a framework to guide the agriculture, land reform and rural development sector to ensure that the extension advisory services reach our clientele, which is producers. And as I highlighted, this was approved in 2016. So this is each objective, which is, I won't go through them, but one of them is to ensure the effectiveness of linkage between research, extension practitioners, as well as producers, to ensure that we build a bridge to work together with researchers, extension practitioners, as well as producers. And I won't go through all of them, but we, Honorable Minister and MEC and colleagues, we have this on all the Darald website for this policy. And these are the key achievements, which is we check from 2019 until 2024, which is, I can say, colleagues, that we have the approved agricultural extension that was approved by Council on Higher Education this year in May. And we have also our extension approaches that I know is familiar to our colleagues, which is smallholder empowerment and promotion, which is, we call it SHEP, where we have 7,092 producers benefited from SHEP, as well as officials that were trained here, which is 986, which is, I only took that 2019 and until 2024. And we also had, one of the objectives of the policy is to ensure that we strengthen or we establish collaboration with the Commodity Association, which is, we have 219 extension practitioners that were deployed to commodity organization within this period. And we also ensure that through our ARP, we trained extension practitioners, which is more than 7,000 were trained through the ARP, as well as Farmer Field School, which is it's coming, still in the piloting stage, which is, we have 3 now, which is Limpopo, Mpumalanga and Northern Cape, which is the Farmer Field School, where a group of producers are being trained with all the agronology staff and up to the end of the commodity to see if it is growth accordingly, as well as we've recruited extension practitioners through ERP, which is the budget of 1.4 billion within this period was budgeted for ERP, and which is more than 449 EPs were recruited. And while I'm still on ARP, colleagues, you can see this is a national picture where we can see that KZN is one of the top provinces that was allocated the ARP money, which is, they are very doing well on the ARP, where you can see that also the expenditure is equivalent or on what the money was allocated for. And as you can see, as well as the extension practitioner within this period, KZN recruited 71 extension practitioners through the ARP, as well as if we can look on the extension to producer ratio by province. This is according to the norms and standard. We had the current ratio is 1:1,706, which is not a good picture at all, which is at national level, and which is we can see also in KZN we are having that huge ratio there, which is all provinces, if I can say that, they didn't meet the 1:250 ratio, which is really put a lot of pressure to extension practitioners. And we also made a shortfall of extension staff based on that ratio, which is, we are the shortage of more than 11,000 extension practitioners. Then coming also to national policy on comprehensive producer development support that was just approved. These are the key elements under the program statement, where we are having a problem of the inequality in access, ownership and control of resources, which is, there's a skew, participation in terms of the value chain, as you can see, the low agricultural productivity, as well as uncoordinated producer support system. So these are the objectives that this policy highlighted. That is, one of them is to have a standardized producer categories. And these are the guiding principles and conditions that the policy highlights, which is one is to ensure that producers are being registered, is one of the prerequisites, and as well as to ensure that there is a business plan that is bankable and so on. These are also, I won't go all of them. These are the categories of producers where we are measuring in terms of the 10 over, which is starting from the subsistence-oriented producers. We have the household subsistence, which is less than 10 over, if they are making less than 50,000, and up to the mega producers, which is they make more than 50 million 10 over. So this will be the general support and how they will contribute in terms of this producer support to support them, which is household will be supported the threshold of up to 150 over the 5-year period, and as you can see that a medium scale commercial producer will be up to 18 million over a period of 5 years. So lastly, colleagues, we have a serious problem, as I highlighted earlier, of the low extension to producer ratio, which is, we know that is one of the key problems we are having in the country. Is hindering the effectiveness of extension advisory services, as we have currently 1,945 extension practitioners, which is they have to serve more than 3 million, as that ratio stands on that number. And with the ERP and the equity table share that we are having, is not enough to serve the number that is just under, can only serve that number of close to 2,000, which is 1,942 extension personnel, and which is, we need more than 10,000. Being that said, our colleagues, we want to ensure that we also adopt other alternative of 4IR to, which is also will need another investment, as well as we are also saying that we need to strengthen the relationship of Darrell and PDAs to engage with the commodity organization. Thank you very much.
Please, let's give another round of applause. Ngiyakhombisa ukuthi sisenyangeni yabantu besifazane. Ngiyaqala ukubona thank you namakhalas amahle kanje, Honorable Premier. Unamaflower entweni kahulumeni. On a lighter note, thank you very much to Ms. Mateben for the presentation. I think our principals are taking all the information and internalizing it, especially regarding the challenges that we have within the sector. We should be almost double the size, Honorable Premier and the Honorable MEC, in terms of the extension personnel on the ground. But unfortunately, due to fiscal constraints, we aren't able to have that reach which is required by our people. And at the same time, these challenges are robbing mostly the vulnerable people in terms of getting services from the government. Honorable Premier, I'm not going to take much of the time. I would like to invite the Honorable MEC to come and make her remarks, and also invite the Honorable Premier to the podium, as I'm sure all of us are eagerly awaiting to take the messages from our principals. Can you give a round of applause to our Honorable MEC as she ascends the podium?
May be seated, colleagues. Honorable Premier, Honorable Mayors, Speakers, Deputy Mayors, Advisors to the Premier, Inkosi present, HOD, Department officials, our guests, good morning. Before starting anything, I want to say, nibahle, bantu bomnyama, nibahle nje, nibahle. Futhi niqoke kahle. Nibuyisa nethemba. Honorable Premier, it gives me great pleasure to introduce. No. To give me pleasure to introduce you on this great occasion of honoring the best agriculture extension and advisory practice, as well as the launch of the food and nutrition survey result. Standing before you, Honorable Premier, today are men and women whose immense contribution in this sector is often not properly recognized. They are there, they even fail to go out proud. I don't know why, but I hope because we are here, you're gonna boost their ego and they are going to go out proud to say, we were with the Premier and we are willing to go out and work. Seated before you, the Honorable Premier today are agricultural extensions, advisory practitioners whose role is to optimize agricultural production and foster farmer development. Some of them are experts in their field, using technological ways of improving farming sector through the fourth industrial revolution. The productivity and sustainability of the agricultural sector depend on the quality and efficient and effectiveness of the extension and advisory services. To this end, it is worth noting that it is because of these men and women that the sector contributes about 4% to the KZN gross domestic product, GDP. It is because of your effort and influence that KZN is green and vegetable and last surrounding. It is against this background that I challenge you to even do better, ensuring that we make agriculture fashionable, especially to the youth who are the future leaders of our country. Growing a resilient KZN economy through agriculture rests in your hands, colleagues. You have to prove to Umpemba and to the people of KZN that you are there and you deserve to be there. In my budget speech vote last Thursday, I challenged the public to use vacant spaces in office, schools, healthcare centers for vegetable production. It is because of your resilience and steadfastness that despite the flood, civil unrest, and the COVID-19 pandemic enforced lockdown, but the sector is standing strong and continues to provide food to the public across the country, even beyond. Let the rich and fertile soil and reliable rainfall that KZN renowned for not lie fall under your watch. Let us not see water moving from the province to Mozambique without us using the water. But be productive and cultivated through your expertise and intervention. Among members who are here, Honorable Prima, I'm not going to count them because I think we have heard that there is a problem. Director Ngobo of Umkanyaguti. We have heard that there is a problem in Zululand. I think the director Uzulu of Sisong is aware of what is happening. Director Stole is aware of what is happening at Othugela. I wish also to say Director Ushandu, the one for King Cetshwayo, is aware of what is happening because I've been hearing cries of people in Wadi 10 about just a deep tank. And because I'm just mentioning it here, I think that deep tank is going to be made as soon as possible. Angithi sengishilo phela. But before going forward, because I'm not the guest speaker, ngisithunywa here. I have delegated powers, and I also delegated my powers to Udla. I mean, that's why I'm telling him. He's gonna do it. Ukuthi ngani, he will jump because I was delegated some authorities to go out and do something. Angimkhulu kunongithumile ngisithunywa. Nayizwa le ndaba. NoDlamini uthunyiwe. NoDlamini uzothumela ngithi mina. Go to Ward 10 eNkandla niyokhanda idiphu. Ngizomba ngoluvula mina. Let me then introduce our guest, who is not a guest really, because ungithumile uzobona ukuthi nikhona niyalalela niyenza, the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal. Honorable Premier Thamsanqa Ntuli hails from Vumanhlamvu, a deep rural area of Nkandla in KwaZulu-Natal. Was a teacher and a principal for over 20 years before pursuing his career in local government. In local government, he served as a PR councillor and as a ward councillor from 2010 to 2024. During his time as a councillor, he served as a mayor of Nkandla local municipality and also later became the mayor of the district municipality. But I'm not gonna even read history. His history is what he is now. While he was a mayor, he was able to organize women, youth, farmers, and give them startup funding. He was able to buy goats for women cooperatives. And then he is not new in this field. He is from a rural area, and he knows the suffering that were shown by the states. He is a farmer. He knows how difficult it is to have 78 cattle and they die because there is no medication in the dipping tanks. He knows. He knows how difficult it is if you are lazy and you cannot have money just to grow spinach. He knows how difficult it is to see people that are supposed to be working, doing the mechanization, and these people that are getting tender are robbing the community of their right. He knows that. He is from that. I can't then work with you if you fail as extension officers to tell the people that are taking tenders to go out and work because he is after me and I'm after Dlamini. Because he is always running and I have to run and we have to run. Because Umpemba will not sleep when there is someone hungry. Umpemba will not sleep when there is a mayor that is not performing. Umpemba will not sleep when any person within the province, what he said, go and deliver. And you deliver like God. God does not know ANC, EDA, IFP. If there were people that were looking at the colors, stop it, because Mpemba is here. Mpemba, come, because I cannot say more, because I know ufuna labantu bayokwenza service.
Thank you very much, Honorable MEC, for the kind introduction and a very important message that you have shared today. Program Director Malandela, thank you very much for organizing this very important engagement session. I wish to extend my greetings to our MEC for Agriculture and Rural Development, Honorable Kamadlopa Mthethwa. Your Worship, the mayors who are present here, I must really say I'm humbled. You see, I remember while I was a mayor in Kandla, local municipality, I always regarded programs of agriculture as a solution to the challenges that the poor families are faced with. And then when an invitation was made or extended to your offices for you to decide to come here, either to represent a mayor as a deputy mayor or a speaker, I think the people who voted for you, who elected you, they chose the right leaders. Ndabezitha inkosi yesizwe yakhona phakathi kwethu mapholoba esekhona namanye amakhosi engakawaboni, ngiyathobeka kakhulu nakuwona. The advisors to the office of the Premier who are present here with us today, the HOD for Crash and Rural Development, Mr. Dlamini, the HOM Dlakadla, the Chief Director, Dr. Smong, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, and also the Chief Director of Human Science Research Council, Professor Tis Melane, the LED officers from municipalities who are also present here with us today. Well, I was doubtful to also greet ngokhethekile ubaba uMbango, ngithi bazothi awulento sesiyenza ke eyethu kanti vele yethu. Mr. Mbango is the man who worked day and night very close with the late Prime Minister of the Zulu Nation and the monarch, Prince Buthelezi. He knew him when he was not happy and even when he was happy. Even knew what he was thinking each and every hour. We are also grateful, Mr. Mbango, that you are with us today. Members of the media present with us today, the South African Police Services SABS present today, distinguished guests, delegates, in fact, the extension officers and all employees in the department, from the management to officers, ladies and gentlemen. I know there are also other members of the staff from the Office of the Premier. I wish to also extend my greetings to them. I wish to start by extending my appreciation and heartfelt gratitude to the Honorable MEC for Agriculture and Rural Development, Gamadlo Pamtetwa, for this invitation to the Agricultural Extension in Daba 2024. We are pleased to be part of this gathering, which interconnects science, scientific research, and agricultural practices. Its primary aim is to strengthen the agricultural frontline services with a view to improving the services that government is committed to provide to the community and the sector. Program Director, agriculture by its very nature plays a critical role in the economy and the poverty alleviation. But the reality is that the sector is facing significant climate patterns that affect the weather, urbanization, growing population, pollution, rising input cost, and many others. This gathering, therefore, is very timely as the province is grappling with many challenges, as observed in the recent floods, the fires, El Nino, La Nino, and many others. We ought to come out of this Indaba with a clear plan on how, among other things, we can apply scientific research and new knowledge to improve the sector. Ensure that our farmers have ability and support to adapt relevant practices and, importantly, adapt to changing conditions. We develop a clear plan on how we train our farmers and provide them with the relevant information and resources. Maybe before I continue, I must pause here. I was quite very excited for MEC when we agreed that there is a need of hosting this summit. You know why? It's because the people who are here are the ones that I believe in. That they are the only vehicle in which this government of KwaZulu-Natal can be able to address the challenges that our communities are faced with, the issues of poverty and food security. I'm happy to hear the word from our MEC. In fact, saying it categorically, how much trust and belief she has in you. I know that you'll dare not fail her. This Indaba is held under the theme, Bridging Collaborative Initiative for Strengthening the Research Training Extension Farmer Nexus. It underlines how the development of the value chain of the agriculture sector is to program of economic growth, job creation, and the fight against poverty and food insecurity. Extension is about quality farmer support with the latest knowledge as a platform to promote excellence amongst agricultural advisors, who are key support loop to the sector. Agricultural extension officers serves as immediate between scientific research at institutions and farmers on the ground. The best extension officer plays a multifaceted role as a facilitator and a communicator who guides the farmer in decision making, ensuring that the most appropriate knowledge is implemented in a bid to achieve the goals: sustainable production and orderly land use and development. In fact, I wish that in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, we go back to the basics. We go back to the time of the KwaZulu government, wherein extension officers were visible, impactful, changing lives of the people. I remember that time where KwaZulu-Natal was green, and I want to see KwaZulu-Natal being green from now. The only way I will judge whether we are successful or not successful is when I drive crisscrossing the province, see some areas being not green. I will immediately pick up my phone and call the MEC to say, MEC, what is happening in this district? Who's the manager in that area? Who are the extension officers in that municipality? I don't see the place being green. Because my belief is that one of the things that we need to do together, working together, is to reignite the passion and the love of agriculture in our communities. I know that you are doing good work. I know others can have excuses that people are lazy now, they no longer want to work. The manicures and pedicures. The attitude determines the altitude. The attitude determines the altitude. How high you go depends in your attitude. If you believe, if you see yourself as a winner, you will shine in your area of work. I know that you are all aware that as the province of KwaZulu-Natal, we have agreed on the 3 objectives. One being the inclusive economic growth as the first objective. And the second one is fighting poverty and ensuring that we address the issue of the cost of living. We don't want people to suffer because things are expensive, life is expensive. And the last one is to build a capable, integral, and developing a developmental state. You see, a state that is having standards requires each worker to have standards. Because I mean what I say. I walk the talk, I don't talk the walk. I've already started, unannounced, to visit government institutions. Expect me in your office any day. I will not tell you when I'm coming where you work. In Prince Mshieni Memorial Hospital, they were surprised to see a man walking in the passages. Fortunately, my picture is there. And fortunately, I was with the MEC for Health. Even the MEC for Health, I did not inform her. In fact, a day before that, I was going to the hospital. I called her in the morning to say, Honorable MEC, are you available for a visit to Prince Memorial Hospital? She said, when the Premier wants us to go there, I will drop everything. But I said, please don't tell them. And we have even agreed that in some of the days, I will not wear the tie. I will wear the overall and go to the queue and sit where others are having a queue, so that I will see how long it will take for me to be attended. Consequence management is the order of the day in this government. When I find wrong things, definitely consequence management will be implemented. To all of us, we discuss this. Is this the spirit even at our level when we have a cabinet meeting? All our MECs, they are in agreement, in fact, in the government of racial unity, that the standards of our work must be given priority. You see, we are important, much more important than the way you think you are. Because what we only do, we speak policies, but yourself you implement. So, if yourself you are not doing what you are supposed to do, we can have good policies, but they will not impact in the lives of the people. That's a discussion we started in the National Lehotle with the President of the Republic and also the ministers and the premiers from all other provinces, DGs and all others, very senior officials of government. We have identified the issue of you, that you are the most important part of this government. Hence, it's important then that you understand that if you fail, we all fail. If you're always sick and not going to work, we will not deliver, all of us. If you always enjoy lunch, extra minutes and extra hours in lunch, we'll all fail. If you always have family commitments and not go to work, we'll all fail. If you think because you are a manager in a particular district, you do as you like, you arrive late, you leave early, we'll all fail. That is why we are saying, in this government of racial unity, we want to ensure that one, we acknowledge your importance. You are very important. You must know you are important. And make it a point that you keep it at that level. We want you. We depend on you. We can never succeed without you. Honorable MEC, Your Worship, the mayors, ndabezitha Nkosi yesizwe khona phakathi kwethu. KwaZulu-Natal is a rural province with tracts of arable land. His Majesty, the King, Mrs. KwaZulu-Natal, has also underscored this point in many public engagements. Even the late King, during his address at the Umkhosi Welembe in KwaDukuza in 2022, he said, I quote, KwaZulu-Natal has the largest land in South Africa, and that the people in the province should be the ones producing food for the country, close quote. I fully understand that there is a complex balance that needs to be struck between development, human settlement, and food security. But we have to creatively use land to support agricultural activities. Because agriculture, as Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, the late Prime Minister of the Zulu Nation and the monarch, once said, open quote, for people to believe, to be alive and kicking, they have to eat, close quote. In fact, speaking at Mahlabathini Annual Agricultural and Industrial Show, Umntwana Wakaphindangene said, open quote, even under normal circumstances, agricultural activities are essential for man's survival. No human being or nation can survive if it does not involve the people in agricultural activities. Farming is the very first industry, and it is where all nations must first excel themselves in order to successfully diversify into other industries, close quote. There is no doubt that for the poorest sections of our people, agricultural activities are vital for us. We have just received the statistics on the unemployment rate, which showed increase. And I believe that this department is a solution even to unemployment. This indaba comes shortly after the release 2 weeks ago on the 13th of August of the unemployment rate as statistics by Statistics South Africa. The figures showed that unemployment rate increased by 0.6 of a percentage from 32.9 in the first quarter to 33.5 in the second quarter. The expanded unemployment rate increased by 0.7% to 42.6%. These employment losses were observed mainly in the formal sector, down by 77,000. The agricultural sector, down by 45,000. And private households, down by 18,000. The finding of the survey confirms our worst fears that we are faced with unemployment that is unchecked, if unchecked, may lead to instability. The agricultural sector must provide solutions to our unemployment rate, especially for women, youth, and the vulnerable groups. State SA reports that unemployment affects mostly young people who are, in fact, disengaged from the labor market and are not building on their skills base through education and training. This to say, they are not in employment, education, or training. Program Director, unemployment is linked directly to access to food, and it impacts directly on food security. The Human Science Research Council says that South Africa is not food insecure, but that there are pockets of people who do not receive enough meals or adequate nutrition from what they eat. The levels of food insecurity varied across districts, as we have been receiving the report today, where 17% of the households in the province suffer from severe food insecurity, while 4.3% suffer from severe hunger. Severe food insecurity was more prevalent in Zululand district, as you just heard here, where 35% of the households were severely food insecure. Your Worship, the Mayor of Ulund. And 17.1% and 4.3% experience severe hunger. So, when we try to enhance the program of agriculture in the areas which are cited by the report here, people must understand that that's not being biased, but we are informed by the research. That is where we need to put more effort to try and change the situation before it's worse than what it is right now. I'm therefore delighted to be part of this indaba, during which we will witness the announcement of winners in the agricultural science competition managed by the department. We are also pleased to be part of the launch of the National and Provincial Food and Nutrition Security Survey report in conjunction with the Department of Agriculture. Land Reform and Rural Development and our provincial host today, the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. That the Human Science Research Council has chosen this assertion to launch its national report on food security, which brings us science closer to the war on poverty and our effort to end hunger and inequality. We have noted the HSRC survey, which will help us in updating our data and to indicate to us where the best interventions should be. These instruments are crucial to inform improved food programs at regional and district level, and as a baseline to monitor household vulnerability to food insecurity. As the HRSC states, the report provides the country the opportunity to fulfill the requirement of the Dar es Salaam Declaration on Agriculture and Food Security. This is a set of agricultural goals to help reduce food insecurity in the Southern African developing community region, to which South Africa is a signatory. As KwaZulu-Natal, it is our responsibility to aid in increasing food security through agriculture and other sectoral interventions. Among the recommendations made by the HSRC, which I felt they are quite resonant, are the following, and I'm not going to mention all of them. Promotion of domestic food production to ensure food security at household level. In fact, I was saying to the media outside, the program of one home, one garden must be realized. You see, I know that people will tell us stories of water, that there is water scarcity. As a result, they cannot have a garden. But the question is, do they bath? What do they use when they bath? If they use water, they cannot tell us that they cannot have a small garden. People will buy even the spinach and even the onions. To me, in fact, if I had to judge you, I had to visit amakhaya, ngihambe ngibuke ukuthi khona ingadi la. Ikhona ingadi la. When I don't see the gardens, then I'll go to the office, our office of agriculture. Who's working here? Who are the extension officers here? I did not see a garden in that family. What is happening? That's how we are going to judge you from now onwards. You know why I'm saying that? You must understand why I'm saying that. I know ukuthi lo khuluma enikhulumayo ngoba nithokozela lokhu. Ngoba anginayo inkolelo ukuthi khona ongasho kunye uma sengishilo kulesi sifundazwe. You see, why I'm saying this is because I believe in you. And I believe that you can do it. Tina will support you. We'll ensure that people have access to the seedlings, to the seeds, and even the fertilizers. We're not saying you must use your money to buy for them. The other very important recommendation is a focus on employment creation through agricultural sector. I know when they reported the shortage that we have in the department, you were very excited that at least bayabatshela ukuthi siyashort. The very unfortunate thing is what you all know. Our economy, the budget cuts, the capacity to be able to employ more. I know the department is planning to employ some extension officers. I saw it from the report of the MEC that there are going to be some employments in the near future. But that does not necessarily mean that we'll be able to actually bridge the gap, which is quite huge. But my appeal is that we need to understand how agriculture can in fact be used in order to also address the issue of opportunities. The issue of opportunities. We can use agriculture to address the issue of the opportunities. I'm encouraging you to work with municipalities. Ayiphele lento yongafuna ukusebenza nomasipala. Ngahlupheka kakhulu kabi mina enkandla agriculture ngibalekela ungafuna ukusebenza nami. Uthi wawusebenza kanjani ngeke ngize ngikusho lapha. Kwakungikhathaza kakhulu bayazi nabo ngoba ngangeke ngikusho lokho ngangakuhlonisi. Ngisewumeya lapha wasenkandla. Ngoba ngangikubona ukuthi akusisi la fanele siye khona. You cannot choose in a municipality to work with some people and avoid the authorities of that area. You are not going to be successful. That's a recipe for disaster. You are going to fail. Uguti, who's leading the municipality is not your business. Yours, there's a structure which is legitimate, traditional leadership, legitimate structure, work with them. Even if you have been used to work with certain and leave some, let us change that together. Let us work with everyone. Let us ensure that we involve everyone. The other very important recommendation is the investment in food markets and food banks and fruits and vegetable markets close to vulnerable households in all districts. Land distribution, restitution with a rezoning strategy for land under traditional authorities so that some can be reserved for agricultural production. Protecting extremely poor households from seasonal hunger through assistance in particular months of the year, mostly January and June. Improve household nutrition through continued interventions like breastfeeding promotion, managing acute malnutrition, and benefits of consuming nutrient-rich foods and dietary diversity, as well as guidance on food preparation and meal planning. In conclusion, the National Food and Nutrition Security Survey seeks, having assessed the food and nutrition security situation at households in the respective livelihood zones of the province of KwaZulu-Natal, wants to see targeted interventions for food and nutrition security. As the province of KwaZulu-Natal, We welcome the reports and the outcome, which are accompanied by recommendations. We note the contents, and having received these reports, we expect the report to be presented to the Provincial Executive Council, and having been processed by the various relevant structures, including the Committee of Heads of Departments. We are certain that the hosting of the agricultural extension in Daba will increase the capacity of extension services, improve support, including the quality of extension and advisory services, and optimize agricultural productions and farmer development in KwaZulu-Natal. We are deeply indebted to the MEC for the Department of Agriculture and Minister of Agriculture, Land Reforms and Rural Development, and the leadership of the department who commissioned the Human Science Research Council to conduct the National Food and Nutrition Security Survey. Congratulations to the winners of the Agricultural Extension Awards, which will be announced later. You are the best of the best. To all of the officers who are present with us today, on your shoulders rest the future wins against joblessness, poverty and inequality, as we increase our agriculture output to take its place as leading sector in our economy. If one can ask me, Premier, where do you find your heart amongst the initiatives that are supposed to be a priority in our government? I will say in agriculture. And really, I'm quite convinced that if agriculture can work, things will change. Even the life expectancy will improve. Even the food security issue, even our economy, even the issue of opportunities. Seriously, we have a mammoth task. That is what it says, we have a mammoth task. I don't know whether we all understand. The life of the people who are serving the poverty states that the Almighty has given it to our hands to do something so that they also live as we live. I wish that the day really becomes fruitful and all the deliberations find expression outside. In September, we'll be launching a planting season with the MEC. And from there, that is where I will be crisscrossing driving KwaZulu-Natal, looking at the greenness of our province. As I've said, the department will support you. Make it a point that you do things right. Do things in a right way. So that what we offer, it reaches the rightful beneficiaries. And quality is of essence, HOD. Quality is of essence. Ngenzeni kancane sesikhipha usizo sasajabula sahamba no MEC sayohambisa usizo bese bethi abantu lembewa izange emile. Thank you very much.
Cela siphinde sishayele uPremier wethu ihlombe. No, siyabonga kakhulu. Ngicabanga ukuthi Honorable Premier, it was a revival and sonke we got the message. Your message does not need to be repeated. It just needs to resonate with every one of us moving forward, and we really appreciate that. Honorable Premier and the Honorable MEC, we would like to request that we do a photo shoot, but we are also mindful of the time that we seem to have lost some time. We need to be catching up, especially with the presentations. Lunch in this place is always served at 1 on the dot, and we would want to at least meet that commitment. I'm going to be requesting the principals to at least